Hello, my friends. I am live from my hospital bed, which is in my house. So I am at home. But I just wanted to say hello. And this is Oasis in the Ordinary. I have to share a little bit. We're going to do a little bit of Robinson Crusoe. He was a little discombobulated. He wasn't sure what he really wanted to do. And he really did not heed his father's advice. And so he went off half cocked and did his own thing, whatever he wanted to do. So here we are now, and he's headed for his second voyage. And let me read just a little bit. Um, I'm not sure exactly where I left off in the last reading, but for me, I'm going to put, had I now the sense to have gone back to Hull and have gone home, I had been happy, and my father, as in our blessed Saviour's parable, had even killed the fatted calf for me. For hearing the ship I went away in was cast away into Yarmouth roads. It was a great deal while before he had any assurances that I was not drowned. But my ill fate pushed me on now, with an obstinacy that nothing could resist, and though I had several times loud called from my reason and my more composed judgment to go home, yet I had no power to do it. I know not what calls this, or nor will I urge that it is a secret overruling decree that hurries us on to be the instruments of our own destruction, even though it be better for us that we should rush upon it with our eyes open. Certainly, nothing but some such decree avoidable misery, which it was supposed to be for me to escape, to have pushed me forward against the calm reasonings and persuasions of my most retired thoughts, and against two such visible instructions as I had met in with my first attempt. My comrade, who had helped to harden me before, and who was, thank you, who was the master's son, was now less forward than I. The first time he spoke to me after we were at Yarmouth, which was not until 2 or 3 days, for we were separated in the town to several quarters. I say, the first time he saw me, it appeared his tone was altered, and looked very melancholy, and shaking his head, he asked me how I did, and telling his father who I was, and how I had come to the voyage only for a trial, in order to go further and broader. His father, turning to me with a very grave and concerned tone, "Young man," says he, "you ought never to go to sea any more. You ought to take this for a plain and visible token that you are not to be a seafaring man." "Why, sir," said I, "will you go to sea no more?" "That is another case," he said. "It is my calling, and therefore my duty. But as you made this voyage on trial, you will see what a taste heaven has given you of what you are to expect if you persist. Perhaps this has befallen us on your account, like Jonah in the ship of Tarshish. Pray," continues he, "what are you, and on what account do you go to sea?" Upon that I told him some of my story, at the end of which he burst into a strange kind of passion. "What had I done," says he, "that such an unhappy wretch should come into my ship, I would not set foot in my ship. I would not set my foot in the same ship with thee again for 1,000 pounds. This indeed was, as I said, an excursion of his spirits, which were yet agitated by the sense of his loss, and was farther than he could have authority to go. However, he afterwards talked very gravely to me, exhorting me to go back to my father, and not tempt Providence to my ruin, telling me I might see a visible hand of heaven against me. And, young man, he said, depend upon it, if you do not go back, wherever you go, you will meet with nothing but disasters and disappointments till your father's words are fulfilled upon you. My word, that is some prophecy there. We parted soon after, for I made him a little answer, and I saw him no more. Which way we went, I knew not. As for me, having some money in my pocket, I travelled to London by land, and there, as well as on the road, had many struggles with myself, what course of life I should take, and whether I should go home or to sea. Okay, so there we have it. Shall he go home or go to sea? We have just another paragraph. So, as to going home, shame opposed the best motions that offered to my thoughts, and it immediately occurred to me how I should be laughed at among the neighbors, and should be ashamed to see not my father and mother only, but even everybody else, from whence I have since often observed how incongruous and irrational the common temper of mankind is, often, especially of youth, to that reason which ought to guide them in such cases, vis-a-vis that they are not ashamed to sin, and yet are ashamed to repent, not ashamed of the action for which they ought justly to be esteemed fools, but are ashamed of the returning, which can only make them be esteemed wise men. In this state of life, however, I remained some time uncertain what measures to take and what course of life to lead. An irresistible reluctance continued going home, and as I stayed away, the remembrance of the distress I had been in wore off, and as that abated, the little motion I had in my desire to return wore off with it, till at last I quite laid aside the thoughts of it and looked out for a voyage. So I think he's made his decision. He's decided he's going to go to sea again. I think he's crazy. I don't know about you, but I think he's pretty nuts. Okay, until next time, leave me your comments. You tell me what you think, because I don't know. Seems like an awful lot of trouble when he could make a better choice. Until next time, may the Lord bless you and keep you. May he make his face to shine upon you and be gracious to you. May the Lord lift up his countenance upon you and grant you his peace.